Are you willing to enable that person that is you to take those risks and succeed and live that perfect life whilst you're sat here not taking those risks, not taking those opportunities, and in a life that you're not content with? Have you ever seen an opportunity in the markets and been swayed out of that opportunity through fear? For me, I tend to lean towards that fear and I tend to go towards it a little bit too much. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing some of my experiences with taking some of those opportunities without fear, and also what can go wrong, what can go right, and also how you can maybe change your mindset to be a little bit more risk-minded. So this is an amazing skill to have because it can enable you to take opportunities that others might be a little bit more afraid of, and you can get rewarded for your bravery. Now, this also comes with a twist, right? The higher the reward, the higher the risk. You don't know which way that's going to go all the time. Now, let me tell you a little bit of a story about my own trading and what's made me the trader I am today. I was trading my own money. I'd been saving it from a job, and I'd saved up about £5,000. And I put that money into a trading account, and within the space of 2.5 months, I'd made, or the account was up to £13,000. And looking back, it was way too risky. And I put some money, or a lot of money, into Ethereum. And overnight, news came out about Ethereum. Wasn't very good news, and it plummeted. And from that news, I had then lost everything. And this is a story that really kind of changed my whole trading, and it changed the way that I look at the markets. Now, for me, 13,000 is a lot of money. That would have, if I didn't kind of invest that would have lasted me probably about a year, covering my expenses. So that is a big loss, and it didn't really hit me until a few days later. And after that loss, my trading completely changed, rebuilt everything to do with my trading, reset my rules, reset my routines, everything changed. And I know I'm kind of going off on a tangent a little bit, but the story kind of helps put in line what fear can do, and also what fear can't do if you ignore it. So after hearing that story, if you're still wanting to learn the trait of taking risks without fear, then let's get into a few tips. So the first thing that I think of whenever I see an opportunity, but there's risk attached to it, I will always think, what is the worst that can happen? Okay, so looking at the £13,000 with the trades, what's the worst that can happen? I lose the 13,000, I get a job, and I restart. Okay, that's the worst that can happen. The best that can happen is my whole life changes and I get to live my dream life from that day onwards. For me, I'm happy to take that risk. I'm happy to reset, and there we go, done. It doesn't need any more than that. I'm going for it. So once I think of the worst scenario, once I think of the best scenario, if I can live with that worst scenario, I just go for it. In my mind, life is way too short to not take those risks because you're scared of that worst scenario. So I'll give you another example. It's not my example, but this is something that I think is quite relatable to a lot of people. Let's say you've saved £15,000 over a 2-year period whilst working your job. So over that 2 years, you managed to save those 15,000, and that equals to 1 year of expenses saved. Throughout those 2 years, you've had an idea for a business, and you've been planning it, you've been working on it, and you feel like you're ready to go, but you're scared. What would you do? Okay, what would you do? Would you stay in the job, or would you leave, take the risk, and you've got 1 year to figure it out? Let me know down in the comments below, and I think it would be really interesting to get both perspectives, someone that would stay in their job, someone that wouldn't. So please don't be afraid to say, yeah, I would stay in my job and I would do this instead. So what is the worst thing that can happen? Okay, the worst thing that can happen is your business fails, you lose £15,000 and you're a year older. You go and get a job, you restart, 2 years down the line, you can do the same thing again, give it another shot. You can do that for 10 years in a row, right? It's not, you know, terrible, right? You just lose a year, you lose 15,000. I know that is kind of bad, but at the end of the day, you can go and get a job and you can restart, right? That's an amazing thing. What's the best thing that can happen? You run a business that you love, you created it from nothing, and you're now living an amazing life that you love, doing something that you love to do. So the next thing that I do is I think about an alternate version of me. Okay, so let's say there's an alternate universe and we've been making different choices, and the choice of the alternate universe, Jacob, decides to take risks, decides to push themselves, decides to run towards that fear and go out of their comfort zone. What life does that Jacob lead, and where does it take them? Versus a Jacob that doesn't do that kind of stuff. So apply this to yourself, right? If you were that alternate version, what would their life be if they took those risks? Are you willing to enable that person that is you to take those risks and succeed and live that perfect life whilst you're sat here not taking those risks, not taking those opportunities, and in a life that you're not content with? Which one would you prefer to see? And for me personally, I want to be that risk taker. I want to be that person that pushes themselves. For me, it needs to be the risk, and I'm happy with that worst case scenario. I'm happy to reset. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found value in it. If you think someone else needs to hear something like this, send them this YouTube link and let them kind of talk to you afterwards. I think a lot of people need someone else to tell them, you know, you can go for it, you can take that risk, and here's why. And in this video, I've discussed some of the reasons why I take risks, my own failure, and what I have done, you know, afterwards. I'm fine, I'm still here, I'm alive, and I'm still positive, you know? So take those risks, put yourself out there, and send this to someone that you think could benefit from it. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video.